Good afternoon and welcome to this workshop about forecast. We'll wait about 30 seconds, 1 minute for everybody to connect, and then we'll start. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Welcome everybody again to this workshop about forecast, our new feature. In the next 15 to 20 minutes, we'll talk about what you can do with this new feature. When you have an account, for all of you that have an account in BN Americas, you will already be able to use this feature. So as soon as this webinar or this workshop ends, I would encourage you to start playing with this. I'll show you where you can find it, and just to keep that in mind. So in BN Americas, a lot of our users have different use cases. Today, we will go deeper into the use case of lead generation. Forecast has some other applications for other use cases as well. We'll touch on that briefly at the end of this workshop, but the main use case for this, for the purpose of this workshop, is lead generation. So you already know probably about our information ecosystem. So we have news, original news edited by our editorial team. We have our alliance with Dow Jones Factiva that gives you access to about 3,000 sources from around the world that write news stories about Latin America. We have our data sets, of course. We have our reports. And then we have our company profiles, our people profiles, and our project profiles. So the forecast product is built around the project profiles mainly, and especially it takes into account the stages that we update for every one of these projects, right? So a project can either be in early stage construction and operation, and each one of these stages have sub-stages that we track. So about half of our standard project profiles have stages in the future. So these are stages that we already know the start or the end date or both dates from, and that still have to start, right? So these are future stages, and these, of course, are useful when it comes to planning and anticipating on what will happen in these projects in the future. So forecast is a tool that's built around these future stages for projects. So you can find this new tool in our main menu. So this is our new main menu. We launched this a couple of weeks ago. The fourth item in the list for projects is forecast. So this is where you will find this tool. And when you click on this link, you will see a window similar to this one. So at the top, we have a couple of filters. So in these filters, we can select what sector we're interested in, which stage, which area. In this case, I'm looking for projects in Chile. I want these projects to be active, and let's start adding a stage too. So here we see the three main stages and their sub-stages. In this case, for this example, I'm selecting the construction stages. So this means that I want projects that in the future are going to be starting the construction stage, right? Also, I can ask for particular types of projects. In this case, for this example, I'm going to start looking at electric power, specifically solar generation projects that will start construction and that are in Chile and that are active, right? So after applying these filters, I'll see a table at the top and a list at the bottom. So we can see the first item in that list here, and we'll see the table at the top. And in this table, I can start seeing by queue for future years, how many projects are going to be in this stage. So first row is number of projects, then we have the capex, the total, the sum of capex, then we have the capacity, in this case in megawatts, because we're talking about electric power generation. And I can also see that Q1 for 2025 is going to be a big year when it comes to these projects going into construction. we can see that there's 23 projects going into construction in Q1 for 2025 and another 8 in Q2. So let's say that I'm particularly interested in these 2 quarters. What I will then do is I will select these in that bottom row with the checkboxes. This is optional, of course. Just let's say I want to refine a little bit more my search, and that will give me a list of projects that are in these 31, right? 23 for the first quarter and another 8 for the second quarter of 2025. So now, of course, I can start exploring these projects. I can start scrolling through this list. And if I want to have a little bit more space, I can hide that table. So I have a little bit more room for the list of projects, and I can then start looking at these projects, right? So there's basic information already here. I can see the companies that are involved in these projects. I can see the capex. I can see the stages there will be in. And of course, I can go into one of these projects. So let's take the first one. And I'm now in the project profile, right? So you already know these project profiles probably. And I went right to the stages tab. And in this case, I can see that, in fact, this will be starting construction in March 2025. So, and pre-construction in January. So this is a project that will be starting construction in Q1 for 2025. There's some other stages that I also can see, and of course I can go to the companies and contacts tab for the same project, and I will be able to see any of the companies that are involved in this project. I can see their contacts. This, of course, is the information that we have for projects in general. I would also encourage you to start following a project. When you find a project like this and it is interested for you, then what I would do is I would follow this project. You can see a little follow button next to the name of the project. What this does is you will start receiving any updates that we have about this project in your inbox. So this means that you'll never miss anything. Stages could change, companies can be added. There may be news articles that are related to this project. You'll get a notification when anything comes up. That's very useful if you have this project, for example, in your commercial pipeline, or this is just a project that you're interested in. So start following projects. It's very helpful, and we'll be launching a new feature soon that will start showing all of the updates for projects you follow. So that's a great feature as well. Okay, so back to the forecast tool. So what I just did is I clicked the link, I went to the project profile. I'm back now at the forecasting tool, and I can see that there's a download button. That download button will give me an Excel file of the projects that are in this list. So in this case, it's electric power, construction stage, Chile, active, solar generation, and then specifically these 2 quarters. So the Excel file will be limited to the 2 quarters that I selected above. And then we have a search function, so I could search for a certain project in that list as well. Perfect. So as I said in the beginning, all of you that have an active account will be able to start using this tool right away. I encourage you to do that and play a little bit with the filters. We are in a beta for this feature. You can see that at the top. So anything that comes up, anything that you think could be improved, please let us know. We're really interested in finding out how you're using this, what's missing, what's not clear in terms of usage and everything. So a couple of use cases for this new tool. Being America's Forecast, of course, is a great tool to start building your pipeline with projects that start tendering, for example, next year. What you would do then is that you would, of course, set the filters according to your interests and the stage. You would look for the tendering stage, which is one of the early stages, and you would then get a similar graph and a similar list for projects that will start tendering in every queue, right? You could plan your commercial efforts by knowing which projects start construction and when. This is similar to what I did just now in this demo. And also this tool, you could use it to estimate future production, by exploring projects and their estimated operation start dates, right? And then of course there's a lot of use cases that of course you come up with, and we're very curious to know how you will be looking at this tool and what you will be using it for. So just as a recap, Forecast, a great tool, to find projects based on future stages. You'll then be able to explore these profiles, start following them, and stay up to date by receiving all of these updates in your inbox. So if there's any questions, or if there's anything not clear when you start using this tool, please let us know. This is my email address. You can also contact, of course, your account manager, but don't hesitate to let me know if there's anything that comes up, any idea that you might have to improve this tool, and anything that we can do to make this work as good as we can. So thank you very much. We'll look at if there's some questions. Yeah, so this is a great question. So Gary wants to know, how do we know these future stage dates, and what happens when there's a project that we don't know the dates for? So first part of the question, these dates, we find them through our investigators. So it may be information that we come across online. We talk to the owners. In some cases, it's public information that's given out by government entities, but it's investigation work, right? So for about half of the standard projects, we have dates for the future stages, and that's the result of investigation. What happens if there's a project that we don't know these dates for? So in that case, that project we would not show it in Forecast, right? So there may be more projects in solar energy in Chile that are in our database, and you will be able to find them by filtering our projects as normally. But since they don't have future stages, they will not be included in any query that you do in Forecast. So that's a good question. Thank you. Any other questions that came up, we'll start answering them by email as soon as we can. But for now, that's it. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope this tool is useful. If there's anything that we can do to make it more useful, please let us know. Thank you very much.